Okie dokie, guys. Let us continue. Oh god, I forgot that was the mess that we left with before I started hacking up the lung. Okay, so on number 9, we have 140 equals 2t plus 7m. And we also have p equals 14tm. So it says define a function k. That's the name of our function, right? So it's going to be k something that determines p. It determines our output. So our function is going to output p in terms of t. In terms input of t. Okay. So we want whatever this equation to be, the only variable that it should have is t, right? So we could try to use this, but this m is the issue. So we want to convert that m into some equation that has t in it. Do we have an equation that has t and m in it? We do. We have this one. So we have 140 equals 2t plus 7m. I want to know what m is in terms of t because I want this function to only have t in it. So I'm going to try to get m by itself because my plan is to replace this m, right, with whatever equation it's equal to, or whatever expression it's equal to. I'm going to fill it in here. I'm going to replace it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is subtract this 2t. Some of you might want to divide by 7, right? But see how this 7 is directly next to the m? So that's going to be the last to go. So think of it as a party. 7 is m's best friend. So everyone else is going to get kicked out first. So we need to get rid of that 2t. So we're going to subtract 2t from both sides. And that gives us 140 minus 2t equals m. 7m. Okay. Now we can get rid of that 7 because we want to get m by itself. So we're going to divide by 7. And there you have it. M equals 140 minus 2t over 7. Now, that is not our end result, right? Because we want to figure out p. But we did figure out that we can replace this m with what? With 140 minus 2t over 7. So let's put it all together. K of t, this equals p, right? Equals 14t, I'm getting that from this, right? Because we're basically rewriting this expression. 14t times m, but we don't want to put m in there, right? So we'll put 140 minus 2t over 7. Cool beans? Okay, that's about it for that one. You could simplify it. So this is like saying 14t times 140 minus 2t over 7. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So we're left with 2t 140 minus 2t. 2 times 140 would be 280. So 2t times 140 would be 280t. Minus 2 times 2 is 4. T times t is t squared, 4t squared. So all of these are technically right answers. This is just the most simplified. Okay? So she might not always be nice about it in the sense that she'll give you an equation with p already defined. So let's erase this. So we had p equals 14tm. But she might give you something like, let me think. P over 14t equals m. Okay, so nothing to freak out about. We still want to define P, right? K of t equals P. So we'll just need to say, okay, which equation has a P in it? This one does. Let's get the P by itself. We'll multiply both sides by 14t. These cancel out. P equals 14t m. That's the same thing we had before. So don't freak out if the variable you're looking for isn't given to you directly. Sometimes you need to do some algebra gymnastics, and that's okay. I believe in you guys. You can do it. Okay, so for the sake of time right now, we kind of went over how to do most of number 10. I do want to look at B though. It says if G inverse of A equals 2, then what is A? So remember, whenever you see inverses, if it helps you, remember that the input is the output of our normal function and is equal to the input of our normal function, right? G of x equals, G of x, right? In, out. So we switch it. The output becomes the input becomes the output. So if we're saying G inverse of A equals 2, right? We're saying what is G of x when x equals 2? And that's simple enough. G of 2 equals, let's see, if we look, so in this case, our input is really t. So we'll say, okay, let's look at the table when t equals 2, G of t equals -2. So if we did G inverse of -2, does it equal 2? Let's check. When the output of the G function, when G of t equals -2, t is 2, because G of 2 equals -2. So hopefully that makes sense. G inverse of A is saying what is what output do we get for the G function when its input is 2, because it's switched, right? Okay. All right. Brian Casey's babysitter charges a base fee of $15 and then $6 per hour. Okay, define a function f that determines the total price C in terms of the varying number of hours N. Okay, so C is our output. We're defining C. F is the name of our function, and it's in terms of the number of hours N. So N is our input, right? So we always start with a base $15. That's our initial payment. And every hour after that, we have to pay $6. So 6N, right? The number of dollars in terms of every hour. So 6 per hour. Okay? So that's that. That's it for A. So simple enough. Okay. For B, it says they do not want to spend more than $60. So how long can they stay out? So we're saying the maximum amount they can pay, right? The amount they pay as our output is 60. So we want to know how many hours they can be out if all they want to pay for is $60. So 60 is our output. Oh no, it's starting again, guys. Okay. So we're trying to find n, right? So let's subtract 15. 60 minus 15 is 45. And then we're going to divide both sides by 6. So n equals 45 over 6. And like I said, I don't have a calculator on me right now. You should for the test. So you can just evaluate that. Okay, so that is the number of hours that they can be out if they want their cost to be a max of $60. Okay, define a function g that determines the number of hours given the total price. So first we had c equals 15 plus 6n. C being the output, n being the input. Now we're trying to find the number of hours. So the number of hours is going to be our new output. Our new function name is g. Remember, g is not the output, g is just the name. In terms of the total price. So luckily we already have an equation that gives us c in terms of n. So now we just need to get n by itself. Okay, so we want to get n by itself. The first thing we need to get rid of is this 15. Okay, now we can feel free to get rid of that 6, which is being multiplied by n. So c minus 15 over 6 equals n. Whoa, you guys, we got our n, we got our output in terms of c. That's crazy. So g of c, which represents n, right? It determines n, equals c minus 15 over 6. Don't mind me slurping on my drink. Okay. So that is it for that one.